I was living down in Austin, Texas for a little while. I had a couple of gigs there in Fayetteville and Eureka Springs, Arkansas. So I got in my van and I was driving north from Austin, Texas up to the Ozarks, and you have to pass through the good state of Oklahoma in order to make that drive. And for those of you that don't know me already, I drive 55 miles per hour. I've got a 2000 Toyota Sienna van that has 250,000 miles of it as it sits parked outside of this building, and it's still at 55 miles per hour on the highway. My Toyota gets over 30 miles to the gallon. Thank you, Jimmy Carter and Japanese engineering. So I'm chugling down the road in Oklahoma, I-40, doing my 55 miles per hour in the right-hand lane, the slow lane, the cruising lane, and I pass a cop in the median there, and I look up, you know, when you get like 500 or so feet past the cop in the median, you look in your rearview mirror to make sure that he's still the cop in the median, you know, and I get out, and I'm about 1,000 or so feet out, and I look up in the mirror there, and I see that the cop is now the cop in the left-hand lane, you know, and he's zooming down the road, and I checked the speedometer. I got cruise control on, but I checked the speedometer. Yep, 55 miles per hour, and he's blazing a trail. And I'm like, man, it's on. I'm gonna see something happen here on the highway today. And he gets up to about there, and then he kind of slows down, falls in behind me, and he turns on his lights. I'm like, he's got me. What did I do? So I pulled over because I wanted to find out. So he gets out of the car and he walks up to my van there, and I roll down the passenger side window and he says, "License and registration, please." And I said, "Excuse me, officer, but have I done something unlawful?" He said, "Son, why are you driving so slow?" And I was thinking to myself, man, why is he talking so slow? But I didn't ask that. I said, "Officer, I was driving 55 miles per hour. That's a perfectly legal and safe speed to be traveling on this road." He said, "I clocked you doing 47. License and registration, please." So now I'm arguing with the cop. I was going faster than that. I was going faster. Takes my license registration, goes to his car. A couple minutes go by, gets out of the car. He motions over to me. I get out of my van. I'm like, great, I've been in this scenario before, you know. Walk over to his vehicle, and he invited me to sit there in the front seat with him, which I thought was a wonderful change of pace. So there we are at the big people table, and I hear stuff coming through the radio about me, you know, and he says to me, "Son, do you have any alcoholic beverages in your vehicle?" I said, "Officer, I don't have any alcohol in my van." And then he said, "Son, do you have any marijuana or large quantities of narcotics?" Now, I don't care if you've got a joint or maybe there's a bowl or some seeds in the carpet in there. I don't care about that. But are you carrying large quantities of illicit drugs in your vehicle? I said, "No." And then he asked, "Son, are there any firearms or small animals in your van?" I've never been asked that before. No, the answer is no. And then he wanted to know if he could search my van, and I stood on principle, and I stuck my thumb to the man, and I said, "You may not search my vehicle." And then he got on the radio and stood on principles of a different variety, and he says, "We've got a refusal, send the canine unit." So I looked at him like, the canine unit? May as well go by your van and wait. It's going to be 30, 40 minutes before the dogs get here. Before the dogs get here? What did I do? May as well go by your van and wait 30 minutes before the dogs. So I get out of his van and I start walking over to my vehicle there, and then, you know, waiting for the dogs to get there. 3 more cops show up. So now we got 4 cops, 3 cop cars, and I got pulled over, remember, for being a conscientious motorist. First cop comes over to me and he says, "Look, if you're in such a hurry to get to this thing in Arkansas, why don't you just let me search your vehicle and be on your way?" I said, "I don't want you searching my vehicle." He says, "Well, then we have to wait for the dogs to get here." Well, I said, "Well, that's hardly fair." He goes, "It is fair. Do you or don't you want me searching your vehicle?" I said, "I don't want you searching my vehicle, but that's not fair." He says, "What's not fair?" I said, "You're not giving me a choice." He said, "I did give you a choice. Do you want me to search it or don't you?" I said, "That's not a choice. You're telling me that you're going to search my vehicle, or I got to stick around for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and let some dogs sniff around my vehicle." He goes, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I'm beginning to wonder, like, which one is he related to? Abbott or Costello? So I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, "Look, man, why don't you just search it and be over with it?" He says, "So you're okay with this?" I put my hand on his shoulder. I looked him in the eye. I said, "I am not okay with it. Just do it." So I'm standing next to one of the other cops. This guy's digging around my vehicle. He opens up the passenger side front, and after like 2-3 minutes, he comes out and he walks over by me and the other cop, and he's holding a plastic Ziploc bag. And he holds it right up to me, and he says, and what is this? I looked at it, looked at the cop standing next to me, and I said, well, sir, I think it's cookies. But it could be crackers. My friends in Oklahoma love this part of the story because they know it's their tax dollars at work. The guy holds the bag to the cop standing next to me who says, check, cookies. So the end of the story is a little anticlimactic. The guy crumbles the bag up, he walks around the van, opens up the driver's side door, he's digging around for a couple minutes, he comes over by me and he says two things. He says, Greg Klyma, you are free to go. And then he said, son, you need to vacuum out your vehicle. I was driving on I-40, didn't commit no crime. Trooper pulled me over just to waste both of our time. This was Roland, Oklahoma in October of 2005. Said I was driving 47, but I was driving 55. He asked a lot of questions about guns and booze and pot. When he brought up small animals, I started getting hot. You see, I shot a hamster in Reno. Just to watch it die. When I think about that critter, I hang my head and cry. Clap your hands! He sniffed around my vehicle just like a doggy would. Found a plastic Ziploc bag, he thought he had me good. Man, I don't know what he was thinking. Must have been one of them rookie bums. He thought it was narcotics, but it was only cookie crumbs. So if you're driving out of Texas, heading north to Arkansas, when you pass through Oklahoma, keep your eye out for the law. In Roland, Oklahoma, they'll do it to you too. Man, it don't matter what you're doing, that's just what cops in small towns do.